The list of gear to buy as a cinematographer is literally endless. However, there are essential pieces of gear that you can buy that will last you your entire career. One of those essential pieces of equipment is a matte box, and I'm actually gonna be using the new Tilta Mirage Pro matte box. This thing is freaking sick, but I'm gonna be walking you through all the different elements of this matte box to help you understand why matte boxes are essential pieces of gear. First up are filter trays. Now, when I was coming up in my career, I always thought that screw-on filters were the dumbest thing because I wanted to be able to do like ND and then a mist or something like that, but stacking that shit it's so hard. So that's where filter trays come in. These are 4x5 filters, technically 4x5.56 for you technical people. It's a universal size that fits across most matte boxes. And these are the filter trays. They allow you to be able to stack multiple 4x5s in a single matte box, such as an ND, a mist or diffusion filter, or like a polarizer. On the Mirage Pro, you get 3 slots, 3 trays. And so the first thing you could do is put in a ND filter, like the Illusion ND filters from Tilta. Which by the way, these ND filters are really, really awesome. I've been using them a ton lately and love them. But you just unscrew the side right here, lift the tray out, pop the filter in, and it's locked in there. There's a little sliding mechanism, and then pop it back in. Or you could use my personal favorite, the 4x5 variable ND that Tilta has for this thing. This thing is freaking incredible. It makes your life so much easier because instead of having to put in a single strength ND and then change it out if you need, you can just dial in the exposure to where you need it to be. And it actually, on the dial, it shows how many stops of ND you're using. But it makes your life so much easier. But my typical setup in this matte box, I've been using this for the last little bit, freaking incredible, is on the very back tray, I'm gonna have my variable ND or a single strength ND. And then on the next filter, I'm gonna actually have a diffusion filter. And recently I've been rocking the Prism Lens Effects Dream filter. Really love this thing. It has a nice, just overall look to the image. It just makes it more of a film-like look. You know, it softens the image, blooms highlights. And by the way, if you want to buy any of this stuff, I will have links down in the description below. They are affiliate links. It's nothing out of your pocket and it helps me out a little bit. So appreciate that if you do that. Yo, just needed to pop in here real quick to be able to add something. So in my original recording, you were just about to hear me talk about that there was no noticeable color shift in the variable ND filter. And upon further testing, I went out to my backyard and did a very scientific test, and there is some color shift. I hate to say that, but just, got to be real, got to be honest with you. So what I did is I started with the aperture open or closed down more with no ND. So just the aperture closed down. I think it was like at an f11 or something like that. All the information will be here on the screen as I go through and edit it. And then I added the ND, did a 0.3, opened it up a little bit, then did a 0.6, opened it up some more, did a 0.9, and I think at that point I had to turn up the ISO. I was at a 2.8 and had to turn up the ISO. Around 0.9 to 1.2 and 1.8, that's when the color shift really starts to get, starts to become pretty noticeable. And that's just kind of how it is with variable ND filters, unfortunately. I don't know of a VND that is perfect. If there is, let me know. I would love to test it and see how it is. But VNDs, the reason why is they're two polarizing filters, two circular polarizers. And as you rotate them, they're going to cut light. However, it's just the way that the light passes through those and the way that is killing light, it just causes color shifts. So, like I said, if you know of one that doesn't have a color shift, let me know. Would love to see it. But just got to be real and honest with you guys. There is a color shift in here, and not to say that it's pretty easy to correct. I feel like you push. In post-production, you just push it a little more green because I'm mostly seeing like a magenta blue shift. So you maybe just add a little bit of warmth and push it a little more green and you should be good. If anything, maybe what I would also do in a scenario like this is use a color chart. And if I know I'm going to be up in the 1.2, 1.8, 0.9 range, those higher range of the VND, then I could just use a color chart, pop that in there for a second. That way in post-production, I could just use my color picker, or like the white balance picker, and be able to just pick that, and I'd be good to go. So like I said, just want to be real and honest with you guys. There is some color shift, so let's get back to it. However, there are going to be times when I'm not going to want to use the variable ND filter because, let's just say I want to use a polarizing filter. And again, technically the VND is two polarizers stacked on top of each other. And so if you add a third polarizer, that can do some really weird stuff, like really, weird color shifts and whatnot. So I can just take the VND out, pop in a single strength ND, and then still have those two extra trays for a diffusion filter and a polarizer. That is the freaking power of a matte box, is having that ability to stack all those things together and just have that ability to do that. The next thing that makes these things so powerful and essential is the way that you can actually attach these to the lens and onto a camera. First, you've got the 15mm rod adapter with the swing away arm. There's nothing worse than having to change out a lens with a matte box and you either are holding it super awkwardly or you have to sit it down on the ground. Freaking terrible. So with the swing away arm, this thing literally, there's a button on the side. It swings away. You can take your lens out, change it out, and then just swing that back on. Freaking incredible. On the back side, you have the ability to change out the clamp-on filter size. So if you're using a swing away arm, you can swing it on, get it lined up, tighten it down so you have a good strong connection. Or if you don't want to use the swing away arm at all, you can actually just remove that, and then the clamp-on filter, you just pop it on the lens and screw it on. And it comes in 8 different sizes, so it can fit pretty much any lens size. Lastly is the rubber donut, and you would pair this with the swing away arm, and you use the correct size filter clamp on, because this thing, it fits into the clamp on filter, and then you just stretch it out over the lens, and then boom, voila, you've got a covered up, super strong. And that's if the lens was kind of an awkward size, if it was smaller maybe, then the smallest filter clamp on size, you could just use that, put the rubber donut on it, stretch it over that, and you've got a strong connection. Next, you have the light controlling capabilities of matte boxes, and really that's kind of the original reason why they were invented and why they're such an essential piece of gear. So first you have just the main outer portion of the matte box, what kind of makes it look like a matte box. And this is the first part that controls light from hitting your lens and getting unwanted flares and whatnot. And on the Mirage Pro, you can actually pull this off if you need something more of a low profile, but it has 2 tabs on each side that it just pulls off, and then it also has magnets on the inside, so you get a good, strong, firm connection, and then those quick releases keep it really tight on there. Then there is the top flag, or sometimes we call it the eyebrow, but it sits on the very top, and you have the ability to angle it up or down depending on how wide of a shot you have, and it just kills light from hitting your lens, because flares can ruin images. Like if you don't want a flare and you've got light hitting your lens, there's nothing worse. Like you're putting your hand over it or something, but this top flag, the eyebrow, you just angle it, you just unscrew it a little bit, angle it down, tighten it, and you can control that flare, that light that's hitting your lens. And if you need it, you can actually buy flags for every single side of the matte box. Like if you really needed to do some crazy light control, you can buy flags for the side, the bottom, and then you've got this crazy, hardcore looking thing. Sometimes an eyebrow just can't do quite the trick, and that's where these really cool pieces come in. The Mirage Pro comes with hard mats. It's called a hard mat, and it gives you the ability to really narrow in how much light is hitting your lens. And on each one, it is printed on what focal length it's designed for. So let's just say if you were shooting on an 85mm, you could pop this on and you're like, holy crap, that's probably blocking, it's going to give you a vignette or something, but that's just, it's not how it works. These things give you just the right amount of field of view for your lens to shoot through, and it just kills all the rest of the light that's hitting your lens. It is really cool because you'll see old pictures like from back in Hollywood days, and they were using these things. I'm like, that's so cool that they came up with this stuff. Like, I don't know. It's pretty cool. Cinematography, it's pretty sick. The last piece that's really cool is on the arm, there is a dial that controls the angle of your matte box. So how does this help? There are times where you're shooting a scene and you have like a harder light hitting your lens, and what will happen is it hits an element like the front of your lens and then bounces back and reflects onto a piece of glass in front of that. So what you can do is you can change the angle of your matte box so that it's not reflecting. Like it's still reflecting, but it's changing that angle so you're not seeing it in the lens. Do you see how powerful a matte box is? It's so essential because here's the thing is, again, time is money on a set. Like you're always running against the clock on set, always. And having the ability to quickly solve a problem is the key to for essential pieces of gear. So I can just, if I need to fix something like what I was just talking about with a reflection in the glass, I don't need to like spend all this time moving and doing certain things. I literally can just rotate the angle and done. And again, like, yeah, it's a bigger setup, but it helps you have all of those elements that you need to be quick. Now, just like anything, this is a tool that is not applicable to every single project. It's gonna be a case-by-case thing. Usually using this matte box for myself, I'm running a little bit of a bigger camera package because it is big. I mean, it's a standard size matte box, like compared to other standard size matte boxes. It's basically the same size, but if you were running a smaller camera package, this could be a little bit too big and just feel a little awkward. But it's a tool at the end of the day. And if I needed something a little bit smaller, maybe I could just take off the front part of the matte box and just run the smaller setup, or I could just use the original Tilt-A-Mirage, the OG one. It's a smaller, more compact setup, and I used that for a long time. I love that thing. It's really just small. So the Mirage Pro is $849, and that can sound like a lot, but if you compare it to something that I think it's pretty comparable to, truthfully, is the Arri LMB. That thing is $2,500. So for all the things that you're getting, that's a good price. That's a really good price. I mean, again, this is meant for more bigger camera setups, more professional setups. And so $849, that is freaking cheap, dude. And that comes with the variable ND. And a little trick that's actually really helpful is you can, on the side of your matte box, take some Velcro and put it on the side, and then Tilta has these little labels that you can buy, and it gives you the ability to know what's in your matte box and not have to guess. Again, time is money on set, and you want to be able to move quickly and be efficient in everything you do. So you can take these little Velcro strips, pop them on the side, and say, I have a 0.3 ND with a quarter mist filter in there, and then I could put this little label on the side so that people know this is the A camera, that's the B camera, it doesn't get mixed up. Again, efficiency is key on set, and essential pieces of gear like this make your life easy, and you can just move quicker and be more efficient in what you do as a cinematographer. If you have any questions about this matte box, or just matte boxes in general, it doesn't have to be about this one, leave them down below. Hopefully I covered why matte boxes are essential pieces of cinematography gear. And again, if you invest into this kind of stuff, especially this one, I think this one's really good, truthfully. It's gonna last you your entire career, as long as you treat it right and don't freaking throw it on the ground. I don't know. It's gonna last you your entire career. And so it's filmmaker's math. It's basically free at that point. Appreciate you being here. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks again. Thanks for being here. See ya.